Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML.
News Talk 1270 KIML. Don Carpenter Show. Welcome back to the program. It's 7:08, and I'm pleased to be joined for the first time in studio by Mayor John Opseth. Welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Don.
It's my pleasure to have you here. I'm glad we were able to get you in this morning to talk about the Air Enhancement program. And we talked a good bit about it yesterday. I don't know how much we're going to retread of all of that, but I just wanted to kind of touch base about the city's take on this. And the city really doesn't have a whole lot of difference in opinion about the necessity of this program, do they?
We do not have a difference in opinion with the commissioners. It's definitely something the city of Gillette needs. We do not want to lose the air service. And we're well aware of the impact it would be if we did lose it. So,
right. And one of the things we talked about yesterday, and I don't think I actually asked this question yesterday, but the numbers we were talking with Commissioner Becker, the $3.49 million that would upgrade to full jet service. It would be 3 flights a day instead of 4. They would cut out one of the Salt Lake flights. That $3.49 million number, that's before the state pays their 55% then, right?
That's correct.
And now, how much has how much has the county asked the city to kick in? That would come out to about 1.5 or 1.6 million. How much has the county asked the city to kick in towards that?
The county has requested from the city, I believe, $350,000 for this first year. And we haven't had an official vote on it, but we have had some discussion, and it appears that we do have support to do that for a 1-year deal to try to get this going with the jet service. So.
Right, and it would I guess it would be on a year, at least a year-to-year basis then. I mean, I know the whole thing is a year-to-year basis, but the city's really only willing to commit for a year then, right?
That's where we're at right now, yes.
Okay, and I guess the end game in this would be to get this jet service started and see if it would increase the revenues for SkyWest to the point where nobody would have to kick in anything.
Exactly. That would be the ideal situation, and I would hope it would get to that point at some time.
Yeah, well, I think, and that's one of the misconceptions that I had when I first heard about this. I thought it was one of those programs that it was a set fee that the various government entities kicked in, but it really is a sliding fee. The more that SkyWest makes on their service, the less everybody has to kick in.
That's correct. That's a worst case scenario is what those numbers are. So
right, and I guess the numbers last year, I think whatever the number was last year that the county kicked in, I think they ended up having to only do about 72 or 73% of what was projected. So this is a worst case scenario.
Correct.
So we're looking at a total of about $3.5 million, about 1.5 to be split up between the county and the city.
That's my understanding. Yes.
So and once the council decides that this is how it's how they want to go forth. I mean, what's the process of that then? Does it go through 3 readings like an ordinance?
I can't really answer that. It's probably just going to be a one-time vote, I would guess, or a decision that'll be added into the budget.
Oh, okay. So it would be added into the budget, which the budget gets 3 readings then.
Correct.
Right. So it would just be an amendment to that.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's one of those things. I mean, if someone wanted to come out to a city council meeting and wanted to speak about it, they could do that.
Definitely.
And I mean, also, by the way, if anybody has any questions, 682-1270, 682-1270 is the number. Now, and we talked a little bit about the economic impact. I mean, what have you heard as far as what would happen if we did lose service, which is probably likely if this doesn't happen?
Yeah, we do not want to lose service. That's definite. But I've heard from several large businesses that they'd probably move their headquarters to a different location out of the town or out of the state where they do have air service. So it would be a huge impact to Gillette if we did not have it.
Right, and I think the other thing that we talked about yesterday with Commissioner Becker is that the service has to be reliable, and I've heard stories of large companies, especially the larger energy companies that buy a lot of these tickets for the flights for business. The service right now is unreliable to a point where they'll buy 2 tickets at a time. They'll buy one here, and then they'll buy one flying out of Rapid a few hours later because people are getting bumped because of these turboprop planes. And again, I mean, the turboprop planes are better than nothing, but jet service would vastly improve. I imagine it would vastly improve the bottom line too.
Yes, it should. And I've heard that up to 30% of the people get bumped, either coming or going. So that's a pretty big number.
Right. And I know the full capacity of the turboprop planes is 30, but they never hold 30. I mean, it's like 25 or 26 is usually what happens. So, and if the wind shifts, it's not even that. So doubling the capacity on each flight, even by cutting a flight, one of the 4 flights, going down to 3 flights a day, that would end up being, I figured it out yesterday. I think it's a 25% increase in capacity, which hopefully should lead to lower prices for leisure travelers too.
That's true.
And the more people that buy tickets, the less everybody has to kick in for the air enhancement. So
exactly, and it can get expensive, but as far as businesses are concerned, the dollar amount isn't that important. But like you said, the leisure travel people, the dollars are more important.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the businesses, I mean, it's an expense for them. So
exactly.
But it's also a necessity. I mean, having that reliable air travel, and who knows? I mean, maybe if we can prove that it can be a profitable situation for the airline, service could even be expanded in the future.
Yes, that's what we're hoping for, that it proves out and can make it on its own.
Well, and I've heard talk of we're on the edge of another boom. I mean, did that have anything to do with the decision that the council made?
We're always looking into the future, of course, and that probably did have a little bit of impact on it. And Gillette's always seems to find a boom of its own somehow. So
that seems to be the case. I mean, I've only been here for a year, and I've heard quite a bit of talk over maybe the last 6 months or so. It seems like, and I've heard talk of the hotels being full during the week. I mean, there's a lot going on, and I guess it would be a shame to lose an important part of the infrastructure that these businesses need.
Exactly. There is a lot of business travel in and out of Gillette, and I guess another point is, if Gillette doesn't pick up the jet service at this time and we wait too long, the smaller jets will be going off to other cities and we won't be able to get them. And when the turboprops are gone, we'll be done. So
right.
I think the timing is perfect to do it right now.
Well, and the plan right now, if expanding the jet service would actually be cheaper than just keeping things the way they are, because
yes.
the turboprops have gotten to the point where they're more expensive than the jets anymore.
That's a true story.
And I mean, we'd be losing one flight a day, but the capacity would be going up. So there might be a little bit less flexibility with travel plans, but it'd be easier to get a seat.
Exactly.
So now, have you ever flown out of? I mean, have you ever flown out of here?
Several times this year.
Oh, so you have recently then?
Yes, I have. And usually the problem is getting back to Gillette from Denver, is what I've experienced. But
okay.
As far as flying out, I haven't been bumped, but coming back, we've had several plane issues. So.
Well, I imagine. I mean, have you ever? Now, everybody that I've talked to that have flown in, it seems like that approach is a little bit white knuckle, especially if it's a little bit windy out, which it happens around here.
Yeah, it can be that way, but I guess I have a pilot's license myself.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little bit more used to that,
yeah.
but.
Okay, so the funny thing is, I enjoy flying, but that takeoff and the landing, that part for somebody like me is only. I mean, I've probably only ever flown about, I don't know, maybe 10 times in my entire life. So, if it's a nice day, I can handle it. If it's a little bit rough, and I've never flown a turboprop. Now, I have flown commuter jets like they're talking about bringing in. So, and they're a lot more comfortable.
That's true.
So, I guess the bottom line is once the council it makes their decision. I mean, what's the time frame on this?
I believe the contract expires the end of June that they currently have with the airline, so it'll be fairly quick. Oh,
okay. So the decision has to be made pretty quickly.
Yes.
And so now what's the next step for the city council then?
I'm guessing that City Administrator Carter will put it on the agenda probably for the next scheduled meeting on the 17th would be my guess.
Oh, okay. So I guess let's see. Next week's the work session, and then the 17th is the.
Correct.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on it, and of course, I imagine if anybody does have any comments, they can come out to the meeting on the 17th and make their views known, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We would welcome that, or phone calls, whatever anybody wants to do.
Okay. Well, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Call City Hall, and they'll put anybody in touch with us. So.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Mayor Opseth, for coming in, and we'll keep an eye on the story, and hopefully this thing can get done without a whole lot of problem.
That would be good.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for coming in, and hopefully we'll get to see you soon.
All right. Thank you, Don.
Thank you. And with that, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. News Talk 1270 KIML.
Broadcasting from two tall towers in the middle of a big field. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270.